Okay, the world is hard. The beginning of the road, hear me, to the end of the road. That's right. I think I'm gonna do this one for my OG. Take heed, my dad.
It's Peter Promo, Synergy Music and Film, PeterPromo.com. Watching Motorcity Resuscitate.
What up, though, Carl?
You alright, pimpin'?
Oh, yeah. So we getting it together around this joint. 7 miles. What we see, Motorcity Resuscitate. 7 Mile Motorcity night. Garbage bags. It's not clean. Long dust pants.
We need a
I'm going now. I'll reach. Friends stand around. They know that I'm about to die.
Be with me, Jesus.
Stay with me.
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 Be with me, Jesus. Be with me, Jesus.
We my heavenly
And Luke all had a tie, a bond to John with faithful acts. Rolling with the Romans helped me face the facts. 1st and 2nd Corinthians led to Galatians. Ephesians, Philippians explain salvation. Colossians, Thessalonians 1 and 2. Timothy, and for my enemies is one for you. Titus and Philemon on the Hebrews. Jared with James, 1st and 2nd Peter with street news. John 1, John 2, can't forget John 3. The truth makes you free and it helped define me. The general epistle of Jude is brief, but every word on the leaf is ever so deep. Lived in poverty but ignored deprivation. Satan mad, I had a revelation. Lord, forgive me when I fall to the flesh. I go through hard times, through my Father I'm blessed.
Sweet potato sensation.
Verses what I'm telling myself.
Grand River and Last.
Sacrifice all limits regardless of death.
Detroit.
Lord, forgive me when I fall to the flesh. I go through hard times, through my Father I'm blessed. To keep you first is what I'm telling myself. Sacrifice all limits regardless of death. Except the Lord is your Lord and Savior. I say ain't nothing like being in the Lord's favor. The baptismal, the Last Supper is true. The beginning of life is the upper room. Mount Vernon, Christian Faith and Grace Temple. Mount Olivet, see it, keep faith simple. I'm only human, make mistakes when I step. See, we all gotta die, the wage of sin is death. Long as we in the flesh, we prone to sin. I'm blessed and etched in stone to win. For direction, we all need the teacher. Question, how can they hear without the preacher? Lead my people with a staff of rod. I'm praying that Lucifer repents to God. I take time out to reach the hostile. I know after rap, I'ma preach the gospel. Lord, forgive me when I fall to the flesh. I go through hard times, through my Father I'm blessed. To keep you first is what I'm telling myself. Sacrifice all limits regardless of death. Lord, forgive me when I fall to the flesh. I go through hard times, through my Father I'm blessed. To keep you first is what I'm telling myself. Sacrifice all limits regardless of death.
Huh?
run that race for the afternoon?
No.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Take pictures this way.
She said he didn't say turn the light out.
Oh,
He
push
said
it on
turn the light around.
Wait, push it on over there.
Yeah, cook you right now.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, we got you.
Motorcity Resuscitate.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the Arab video. Oh, we got the soon so you don't want to take so you can say that first so we can, you know, because we can and she put
I had to go shopping and just get my flip on.
You didn't bring your tripod. Oh, good, son.
You have to hold your cake so we don't get a picture.
All right, take care now. Yep, my pleasure. Have a good one, okay? Yeah, my pleasure. Yep, have a good one.
Take it, take a video. You know, the special moment here. Now,
Someone keep it this way.
Do this all the time. How are we doing in here?
great. My daughter's, yeah, my daughter's, she's at college, CMU, and I ain't seen her in a while, so she come home to be with her dad. It'll be 21st year. Okay, but I ain't gonna leave you. This is my daughter. Look at her.
Erica, Christina,
Look at her.
She's beautiful.
happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, to you.
May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. May
Don't cry, you make some makeup.
Right.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you too.
Amen.
Yeah.
This is a special hour, especially for her. That's what
21.
for her.
Oh, they only come once.
You know, she's been through
She
a
don't
lot.
look like
she lost her mama when she was 12 years old, and I raised her since then. She's been with me. You know, she's in her 4th year of college, and she's a wonderful go-getter.
I can see her on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
Is she a
I
model?
told her that.
Oh man, it need to be. Said the beard came. Man, everybody like Moses. No. Amen. Thank God, man. That's what it is. This is what community. This is what community needs, man.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
I look here, the whole piece. I look again, it's gone.
That girl can eat.
Did you even chew the cake or you just... She went there, okay?
They came and
This is the one that comes after that.
okay.
Oh wow.
Hey, you guys check them out. I got a pretty big stuff.
Yeah. Definitely, man. I said like that's my. Safe traveling.
See that?
Alright, let me try something different. Oh yeah. Can I pick?
daddy to sleep.
All of it.
Every Friday, 10 a.m. we clean up Detroit. All those say 7 miles, 6 miles.
Say clean in Detroit.
Come out and really show some Detroit love.
Act like you care. Exactly. About leading by example, you know what I'm saying?
Lead by example and clean up.
Be on 7 tomorrow.
You don't want nobody to see you all punked out, huh? That's what it is. You fell off the bed. I remember one time Poochie fell off the bed.
To do it.
I appreciate you, sir, most definitely. Thank
This is
you.
a really good area. People from out of state have been purchasing up property, just snatching it up.
Yeah.
Personally, I gotta do the condo thing. So I don't have to deal with the snow and the grass and all that. So I may go back to Farmington Hills. If not, I really want to move to Hawaii. They have some really nice senior citizen place there that's really nice.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna move this over from in front of the heat vent.
Oh, okay.
Let any damage done.
All right. That's a real camera right there. Oh, yeah.
What you see here is a 1/40th scale of the actual system that will go down the interstate highway, which is very large. So when it's actually built full size, it'll be 12 feet from rail to rail. So this vehicle would be 16 feet wide by 40 feet long or bigger. So it's literally like having a full-size city bus, but a double-wide city bus going down the interstate highway, down both sides. So there's a space on the top for solar panels of the vehicle. But let's go ahead and slide this off, and then we'll talk about the rail. So the rail here is made out of plate steel. Inside you see that there is a cross that shows the conduit cluster on the inside. I intentionally designed it this way so that it has the Holy Cross in the center. So no matter how you slice it, Holy Savior's in the middle. And the larger conduits here are 33 inches in diameter. So these are dedicated for production and distribution of hydrogen. The solar panels will sit on top of the rail. So when you have, say, 100 miles of rail, the amount of solar panels that would be on here would be about 50 square miles. So, or 50 acres, I apologize. So it has the ability to generate about 1 megawatt of electricity in 1 hour. So if you only had 5 hours of solar power a day, that's quite a bit of power that you could make in just one day, which is way more than we need to actually run the rail system and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So that energy goes into what we call a utility substation. And you can see on the inside is a water tower. So this part, just picture like a regular water tower you'd see in a city or in a township. So on the inside, what I want to point out is that there's an array of containers. The skinny ones are for hydrogen, the larger ones are for oxygen. And in the perimeter of the outside of the structure, we have various types of energy conversion devices. So there will be the ability to take the water and turn it into hydrogen and oxygen, which you can do in a glass of water if you drop a 9-volt battery in it. You'll see bubbles appear on the anode and cathode. So that's called electrolysis. You introduce an electrical current into water and it breaks it down into hydrogen and oxygen. Then that energy becomes a potential to drive the other devices in here, which would be internal combustion engines or fuel cells. That actually will take the hydrogen and oxygen in, recombine them, get the energy back, and the water comes out absolutely pure. So, you know, of course we know that pure water is a requirement to sustain life. This is something that we all need. So, so this system is designed so that for every 5 miles of rail, roughly speaking, there will be one of these. So if this system produces, say, 1 megawatt per mile per hour, then you've got 5 miles, so that's 5 megawatts an hour going into one of these. Then the amount of hydrogen and oxygen that we store and the number of engines on the inside is actually overpowered again. So that if this particular substation needs to produce more than 5 megawatts an hour, it might even be able to put out 200 megawatts in an hour, but it'll run out of juice in an hour. You know, it depends how much you can actually store in here. So the ability to produce more power on demand is something that we absolutely require, not just for the rail system, but for the local community. Because the overarching principle here is to create that new smart grid, that new resilient stainless steel infrastructure that we need to replace these wires we got dangling on wooden sticks going through our communities. You know, one small windstorm, one branch knocks down one, and then you get a chain reaction and 40 million people are in the dark. No refrigerator, no flushing toilets, no running water. That is catastrophe in the making. So all the top government people are all now making movements towards sustainable infrastructure. Even Washington, D.C., the United States capital city, through the University of the District of Columbia, now has a program. It's called CAUSES, which is an acronym for something I can't recall right now. But their whole mission is to take Washington, D.C. and make it off the grid, if you will, so that every single parcel of land, every commercial property, every government building now has to collect rainwater and store it and actually be able to grow food on the roof. So this is something that is, you know, you don't see it in the news, but that's the law of the land now, and that university is making it happen. So, and this is quietly going around the United States, because if, you know, God willing, we are left in peace, but there are people out there that are not peaceful. So we need to be vigilant and be prepared for the future. And this infrastructure is a grand answer to actually creating a sustainable infrastructure network for our country, and also for everyone in the world. Because, you know, what good is something if it's coveted? It must be shared, it must be given. So this is what, you know, the mission is for me. You know, God willing, we will see success very soon. And I have with me a couple of letters that are associated with the company, and of course I'll leave them with you. But one of our dear friends, I'll read this letter first, is kind of a legend in the world. You might have heard of the American space agency called NASA. Well, NASA was formed out of the United States Air Force that was formed out of the Army Air Force right after World War II. A gentleman by the name of Addison Bain was drafted into the Army right at the end of World War II. And he went into work for Wernher von Braun, who built the NASA and all the rockets and things. Well, Dr. Bain's mission is to build hydrogen infrastructure. And of course, this is a hydrogen infrastructure system. So Dr. Bain literally is the world leader, if not, you know, in a group of maybe 5 or 6 people in the whole world that are top scientists on hydrogen.
He wrote the book.
Yeah, the Freedom Element was the first one. And then he wrote another one just recently called Hindenburg. And you might remember Hindenburg, oh, the humanity because it caught on fire and all of this. Well, that was you know, a whole false flag thing that was done by the Nazis to try and draw the United States into World War II. The science has all been known about this. So the energy companies capitalized on the fear of hydrogen because it was a hydrogen dirigible. Well, this gentleman and many others have already proven that it wasn't a hydrogen explosion. You know, it was all twisted out. And he actually got the Smithsonian to change their public record. So he's a very influential man, and I'm lucky to be able to call him a friend. So this updated letter just came out recently, September 20th, 2015. To whom it may concern, I am Addison Bain, PhD, a retired NASA Hydrogen Program Manager. I am a founding member of the National Hydrogen Association and the International Association for Hydrogen Energy. I have more than 4 decades of experience designing, operating, and maintaining hydrogen systems and equipment for the U.S. military and NASA. This includes the Apollo, Centaur, and Space Shuttle programs. I was responsible for the acquisition of liquid hydrogen to support all government requirements in the United States. I have served as the first chairman of the U.S. Department of Energy's Hydrogen Safety Panel. I continue to serve on that panel as a consultant to support all U.S. Department of Energy hydrogen projects in the United States. I was instrumental in developing the NASA Hydrogen Safety Manual and the U.S. Department of Energy Hydrogen Safety Best Practices Guideline. I am writing today to present the Interstate Traveler Company's Hydrogen Superhighway Network Rail and Pipeline System to you. Over the last 5 years, the founder and managing partner of the Interstate Traveler, Justin Sutton, has kept me appraised of their progress regarding the development and construction of their innovative system. The Interstate Traveler system uses solar energy to directly operate the transportation system during sunlight hours and to create hydrogen either from water electrolysis or from the reformation of natural gas with subsequent carbon sequestration to be used as an energy storage medium for use during non-sunlight hours. The potential of this system to provide a means of hydrogen generation and distribution for its own use and for the use as a fuel source for road-bound vehicles is very promising. The Interstate Traveler system stores hydrogen every 3 miles along its route and within the pipeline network itself, which provides distribution between stations. This allows the Interstate Traveler infrastructure to act as a national hydrogen fuel infrastructure system, making the use of hydrogen-fueled automobiles practical wherever the system is built. The Interstate Traveler Company has expressed their interest and intent to adopt the strictest safety protocols consistent with those I developed during my employment with NASA, and to meet or exceed all other safety standards. I have been asked and agreed to participate in the hydrogen production, storage, and distribution aspect of the company's system and design and integration. I feel that while this system is in the late stages of development and has not yet been constructed, the concept is worthy of full development and when fully implemented will be of great benefit to the states and countries which adopt this system. Please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Dr. Addison Bain, PhD. Yeah, he's one of the greatest, and it's an honor to receive it. There's a lot, too much to read here, but on the top here, from February of 2013, is my letter to President Barack Obama regarding the Keystone Pipeline. Now, you might have seen it in the news. This is a very divisive issue. The energy companies want to build a single wall steel pipe, through vital areas, and let's face it, the oil companies have already poisoned enough of the land on this planet. They need to change too.
Exactly.
So we have already petitioned various energy companies along the way, including some of the larger conglomerates. Because we've been in the public now since 2002, we of course have had to face them because they've come to us on various meetings. So this letter to the President basically explains, and the title of it is Letter of Recommendation, a proposal to resolve the Keystone Pipeline controversy. So without reading the entire document, which would take a few minutes, the purpose of it is to get the President to understand that the Keystone Pipeline, the only problem with it is technology. Exactly. So allow us to provide the technology so that Keystone Pipeline can go forward, but in a way that is safer than any other pipeline that was ever built. They need it too, because like the trucking industry, insurance is their biggest cost. Energy is second to the insurance. So let us build this infrastructure for the country and take away the fear of having a single-walled steel pipe break. We are basically our private partnership. We have just under 400 members, which are from all over the world, mostly right from here in the Detroit metro area. And of course, Lewis and family have brought in a number of partners to help keep this company alive over the years. I have very strong respect for the timing and the support when it came in, as it was a very divisive time a few years back. So now we are very stable. We have bid on jobs all over the world, amounting to well over $100 billion in infrastructure projects. The Detroit Aerotropolis system starts out at about $919 million and tops out around $3 billion if we build a larger system of about 100 miles. And all we're looking for, of course, is permission from the government to build. We're not asking them to pay for it. But they would like to pretend that, the money, we don't have the money. Well, I'm not asking for money. We are not asking for money. We're asking for permission. So, allow us to do what's right by the people. Money will follow because it's there.
Exactly.
So, any questions?
Have you had a response back from the President?
I have not had a response back from the President. We've gotten some interesting comments from people that have received it, but letters of this magnitude often just, people kind of get scared and don't want to say anything. And it is one of the most divisive issues the President is facing. So we're confident that the letter being out and distribution now for a couple of years has been in the right hands in many congressional offices, the Department of Energy, Department of Federal Railroad Administration. So there's a lot of people that have it. So the intentions of our company are very well known, whether or not the president would answer. But to speak on what has been said, the 44th Commander-in-Chief, the last two State of the Union addresses, he has spoken the words about hydrogen, and even the previous president had mentioned it, but kind of laughed it off. But the reality is this is the future. Even the CEO of Toyota came to Michigan, of all places, to make a global announcement that Toyota has gone forward with their production of hydrogen-powered cars. It's already going. It's already done.
Hydrogen is the fuel of the future. Japan has said that, and they #1 in building this car.
That's right.
And building this hydrogen car.
Yeah, and it's in production now. You can buy it now. But I think they're only selling them in California where they got hydrogen fuel stations. So we are at that precipice now. And in due time it will come forward. Even with the president, God willing, he'll take it serious and take steps to allow the White House through this. They announced within the last 2 months, they have $4 billion in commitments at the White House for green energy development, anything to do with creating jobs. And in southern Indiana, where we're working right now, they had a coal-fired plant shut down, lost 150 jobs in a very small town. So they had a big roundtable session. All the local politicians came in. They sent the Undersecretary of Transportation to come in from Washington, D.C., and they all promised, oh, we'll bring money from D.C. here and just give us your projects. Oh, it'll create jobs. We're all about that. So we're holding them to the task to keep their word. And just this morning, Dearborn County, Indiana, passed a resolution signed by all 3 in ink county commissioners. So we're going forward down there to make a concerted effort with all the local politicians to go right to the White House and say, will you keep your promise?
Justin,
yes,
I was explaining to the family if they was to purchase a hydrogen car, how would this system aid them in fueling that car?
Yes. So the question about how does the hydrogen get to the consumer?
Right.
So the utility substations are built every 3 miles, and this is a number we use for the budgeting and costs and return on investment. And of course, the rail will be going down the interstate highway system. Well, if you picture along the interstate highway, wherever the exits are, there's always a gas station or 2 or 3 or whatever. So we actually provide pipeline capability to supply natural gas, gasoline, diesel, biodiesel, hydrogen and oxygen directly to the gas stations along the interstate highway system. So it'll be direct pipeline feed.
That's what I want.
Yes. So we've seen here in just Detroit area, entire tanker loads, truckloads of gasoline or whatever would crash and take out an entire bridge, and in fire, and people evacuating. All of that will go away in the future when this system becomes the pipeline to distribute hydrocarbons in the near term, and in the long term, just straight hydrogen over time. Because it will take 10, 20 years, maybe longer, for that transition to take place so that we don't burn hydrocarbons anymore.
Right.
But we're getting close. But we provide the system that allows the hydrocarbon industry to not see us as an enemy. We help them save money, help them deliver their products safer to the consumers. Basically abandoned for a couple of years. So we have proposed to the City Council, and through the resolution they have essentially approved, pending further due diligence on the legal contracts, our right to come in and build the infrastructure in Highland Park. And where that water facility is, where that water tower is, we will modify that water tower like this. But in that park area, there is a large cement retaining pool that is 1,300 feet by almost 300 feet wide. So it's a very large pool. And we've identified a contractor out of Portugal that would turn it into a wave pool that will actually create waves that you could surf on. And that would actually attract, people to come to this place.
Wow.
So we would put in an education center, a training center, conference center, all of the things that people would want to come there, drop a dime, $10, $20 a day, whatever it might be, so that Highland Park would actually start getting an income and pay off their debt to the city of Detroit for the water that's been consumed. So this is on the table right now. God willing, it'll be accepted, and we'll be able to go forward with this. And it could be that in Highland Park, the original Model T production facility where Henry Ford put the world on wheels, the building still stands. We have communicated with them that we are interested in moving into that facility. It is partially occupied right now, and we have met and talked with the owners of the building. And of course they're like, well, this is great, but make your check out too, and of course it'd be a large check, which we don't have. But once we get approval from the city of Highland Park and the contracts are signed, then the money will flow, and it could be that the Model T factory will be reopened and even expanded so that we can produce rail of this size or of multiple sizes right there, and then make Highland Park one of the wealthiest cities in the world.
Wow. So how many jobs would that create? Would you say 10 miles of rail?
Yeah, building in Highland Park, if we do 10 miles of rail, we're looking at hundreds of jobs that would be involved in the building and operating of it, and of course upgrading the facility so we have a production facility there that can produce rail and rail components. And that's a microcosm. On the macrocosm, if we're looking at the Detroit Aerotropolis, for instance, if we do that 100 miles from Detroit City Airport all the way through Ann Arbor and around Ann Arbor, we connect Detroit City to Metro, to Willow Run, to Ann Arbor City Airport. There's 100 stations involved, and the 100 miles of rail kind of work their way around the whole area. That would create about 3,500 jobs that are permanent. So, and these are jobs where people can raise a family on, and they will always be there. They're not temporary jobs like we keep seeing in government programs. So that is the macrocosm. So for every 100 miles we put in, it's about 35 jobs a mile if you do the math. So if we did 1,000 miles, that's 35,000 jobs that are permanent, involved in just running this, having people on board that are concierge. And we've seen even on buses, locally. You got a bus driver, well, their eyes are on the road. Okay, there's no security for the people in the back.
Right.
So there should be, like in this classroom, there should be 2 teachers in every classroom. There should be 2 people on every bus. There should be 2 people on every one of these as well. And their job, not to interfere, but if someone asks for help, they provide the help. And we offer these jobs to, service disabled veterans, able-bodied veterans, anybody who put their life on the line to protect the sanctity and sovereignty of our Christian nation, the United States. I'll say that. They need the opportunity to be able to spend the rest of their lives, their natural born life, looking out the window here, seeing the countryside, and just enjoying the day. And when called upon, let's face it, if they've been through the military training, something goes down in here, they're not going to get clouded. They're going to, I know what to do right now. We're going to settle the situation and take control. So we need that type of opportunity for them, for us.
About that.
I just said that.
30 years.
30 years in the military. Yeah, it's take action, not debate.
And also there's a lot of jobs also in the production of it, building it, the steel, but finding the steel, making it.
Just stood up in here, y'all boys took a picture with him. That's right. It ain't fair.
Come up here somehow.
Look at him, he on this side.
Lisa, me and you the older, we should have been together.
Bounce it up. Hey.
When I was hungry, Lord, you fed me with manna
3, 2, 1.
All right.
Excellent.
That's it.
Lois McGee, Justin Sutton,